I stand here today because of the opportunities that clean water provided to me in a rural village in northern Ghana. Right from my childhood to my current work at the Desert Research Institute, clean water has played a critical role in my life. In the US here, we wake up in the morning, we turn on the taps or the faucet, and there's water flowing. We take it for granted, and sometimes you don't even know where the water is coming from. There's a caveat here, because California now faces water crisis, so I wouldn't pretend that there is abundance of it. But we use about 150 gallons of water per day, but in developing countries, it's not the same. The lack of water, sanitation, and hygiene, what we call WASH, W-A-S-H, is one of the global crises. It's a silent killer that we do not know in most developing countries. We spend a lot of time walking to fetch water in developing countries, and poor WASH affects communities in a way that you cannot imagine. Water kills about 6,000 children every day, and these children can be prevented from death by the mere provision of safe drinking water. Women are also affected by the lack of water because women spend a lot of time going to haul water, which is not even safe, highly contaminated, and milky water from long distances. Women are not able to tap their potential to the fullest, not because they are not able to do it, but they spend a lot of time going to haul water back to their homes. Time that could better be spent for economic activities or taking care of their children at home. Women are also subjected sometimes to harassment because of the time they spent in going long distances to fetch water. Women suffer from inequality. They do not have equal voice in their communities because they spend a lot of time not improving their educational standards, but looking for water and have little time to take care of their children at home. Implementing very good water programs, they can be a transformation in a community. When you are able to provide a community with safe drinking water, sanitation and hygiene services very close to their homes, women and girls have the time now to spend at home, and girls especially are able to go to school and compete. For me, though, water is very personal to me. As I indicated in the beginning, I grew up in northern Ghana, a village called Zwarungu, and northern Ghana, for those of you who know Ghana, that's the poorest region of the country. I grew up in a compound home with several people, extended family members, my siblings, my aunts, my cousins. All of us lived in one big compound home. And growing up, we faced a lot of challenges, which included lack of rain, because we live in the Sahel region of the country, so rainfall is very minimal. So we face hardship, lack of rain, lack of food, lack of education, and very harsh climatic conditions, including the Harmattan wind, which blows from the Sahara Desert at the beginning of the dry season. It's a very dusty, dry, cold wind that will not encourage school children to go to school. I grew up facing this, but the worst of it was that in the dry season, we had to walk long distances to fetch water. Even though our house had 2 hand-dug wells, but they were so shallow that in the dry season, we did not have water in them. We also had to share this water with the extended family members. My sisters had the responsibility of going long distances to fetch water for household use. The boys, including me, had to drive cattle about 3 to 4 miles daily to drink water, and we drove them back. Today, I think about that, and I even wonder whether these cattle that do not talk actually had enough water to drink, because you drive cattle 3 miles away, they drink water, and you drive them back. But this is what we did, daily during the dry season. But in my preteen years, there was help that came to the northern part of the country in what marked the largest scale water program in northern Ghana. The Canadian government made a grant to the Ghana government to provide water wells in the area that I come from. And they arrived with all very large vehicles. They set some pandemonium in the communities because we had never seen big trucks like that, Mack trucks, 4-wheel drives. Fortunately, one of those wells was drilled in front of my village home. That dramatically changed the course of our life in the positive. We then had time to go to school. In the dry season, we didn't have to drive cattle long distances. We had water right in front of the well that the cattle will drink. My sisters had the opportunity to go to school, and my mothers had the time to go to the village market and do petty trading and take better care of us. With this experience early in life, I decided that I wanted to enter into that profession. With good luck and determination and very good marks in primary and high school, I was able to obtain admission into the University of Ghana, where I obtained my bachelor's degree, and then I went on to obtain my master's degree at Carleton University in Canada. And I had the ambition to go to Canada because of the initial help that Canadians gave to my villages. I went on to obtain my Ph.D. in hydrogeology, that's groundwater studies, at the University of Nevada, Reno. And then I began my career as a field hydrogeologist helping other communities around the world. In Ghana, I supported the drilling or creation of water systems for over 500 communities in very, very poor areas in the country. I became the director for the WASH sector with World Vision, and then became the senior advisor to the Conrad N. Hilton Foundation in Los Angeles, managing their water grant portfolio. I currently work in Reno, Nevada, as the director for the Center of International Water and Sustainability, and I also advise the president of the Institute on Global Water Sustainability. I have been so lucky to have this privilege of water scarcity at the beginning and being able to give back. I have traveled extensively throughout the world, providing wash services to communities. I've had first-hand experience in what changes, the dramatic changes that comes into a community when you are able to provide very basic drinking water supplies. In the village of Nabule in northern Ghana, in the dry season, women were so desperate that they had to compete with bees to fetch water in mud holes, just like the picture on the left of this slide. In the dry season, because there's no any moisture or water, bees find, wherever they can get water, So these women were competing with bees in this village. It was a very desperate situation, but they had no alternative but to fetch this water from the mud hole. But help came to them when World Vision arrived at the village with a drilling team that was led by me. We drilled a well down to about 100 feet, and there was no water. So much desperation in the village, but the drilling crew persevered. At 115 feet, we were able to strike water. And the well was constructed, and this became the highest yielding well in the area. There was such a joy, and drumming and dancing. Today, Nabule thrives as a very viable community. As I've indicated, I've enjoyed my work. I'm very happy that I'm able to provide back to children, who are facing the same problems that I faced when I was a child. I do a lot of research and teaching and giving back into developing countries, training water professionals on how to design water programs, manage them, and monitor them. I've thrown a lot of statistics to you, and the situation looks dire, it looks hopeless, but that is not the case. Even though the negative impacts of poor water seem to be huge, the resources needed to prevent the crisis is not very huge. It costs about $25 to $30 per person to provide water to 300 people in a community. That's not a lot of money. So I would like to invite all of you to learn more about the global water crisis and see how you can help. Water is very transformational, and I invite you to be part of the change agents. Water changes everything, especially in developing countries. Thank you.